welcome to the Roman channel MCDL News. CCXXX years ago, Marcus Aurelius died. He was the last of the good emperors. After that, his son Commodus became emperor. He was the beginning of many bad emperors. Instead of ruling the Roman Empire, he spent a lot of his time fighting as a gladiator. But all the matches were rigged, because after all, he was the emperor. Finally, Commodus's bodyguard murdered him in his own bathtub in CXCIIAD. Everyone was confused and getting into fights for nearly a century. After Commodus was emperor, other emperors called Severns ruled Rome. They spent much of their time putting down revolts and protecting the border of Rome. The only reason they stayed in power was because they paid the army well, but ignored Rome's growing problems in crime and poverty. After the last of the Severns died in CCXXXV AD, the government was weaker than ever. In L years, there's XXII different emperors who were all corrupt and disloyal to Rome. Many officials from the Roman government took bribes. Only a few wealthy people paid taxes, and also they supported slavery because it was a cheap way to get their hard work done. Economy was another growing problem. Law and order were breaking down in the government. It was weakening. Soldiers and invaders took crops and destroyed fields. People were buying fewer goods, and many people were quitting their jobs to become soldiers in the army. But then disaster struck. There was a plague that killed out of every X people in the whole Roman Empire. That was the least of their problems. They began to suffer from inflation, which caused even fewer taxes to be paid. The government needed money, so they took gold out of the coins. Now money was next to worthless. Since the prices went up and the pay went down, people stopped using money. Romans were tragically losing and quitting their jobs. Instead of buying goods, people began to barter their goods. Artisans and shopkeepers made less products and are losing money. One thing led to another. Next, a general named Diocletian became emperor. He made reforms and changes. He tried to slow inflation by issuing a set of rules that made the price of goods and wages to be paid to the workers. He made another reform that stated that people had to remain at the same jobs until they died. But the reforms failed, and no one listened to him. Diocletian retired from office in CCCV AD. Then another general named Constantine took over in CCCXII AD. Constantine moved the capital to the Greek city of Byzantine and named the city Constantinople, and also made changes. He built the Forum, many palaces, and an amphitheater now called the Hippodrome. To try and help the economy, he added a rule that stated that the sons of army men, working, and farmers had to carry on their father's business of either serving in the army, trade, or working on the land. Now, none of these reforms helped our dear old Rome. We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't die on me, kid. I've tried everything. Nothing's working. Neptune gum? God mint? Well, I have tried everything.
Wow, this tastes good.
It's the gum of the gods. It can perform miracles. Do you know what day it is? Today's the day you get a Julian calendar. Now you won't miss all the special events you plan. Now at a new low price of 3 auroras. That's a saving of 4 auroras. You can only get this deal here at Roman Calendars. But that's not all. If you buy this calendar, you'll get a free gladius. So come on down to Roman Calendars.
Hello, my name is Tara Marcadius, and welcome back to the Roman channel MCDL News. This just in, the great Roman Empire has just had its XVth anniversary of splitting into II halves. Theodosius had died XV years ago on April XX CCC XCV AD. His final wishes were to have Rome be split into II separate empires. He knew the empire was too big and was going to be too difficult for the next ruler to handle. So now there are II empires, Western, which Rome is the capital, and Eastern, which Constantinople is the capital. With Rome split, it can no longer protect itself from Germanic tribes. The tribes are coming from the forests and marshes of northern Europe. The ironic thing is that Germanic tribes are only targeting the Western Empire. They are trying their best to hold them off, but without the resources and help from the Eastern Empire, they won't be able to hold them off for long. Many people from the Western Empire are fleeing to the Eastern Empire. Throughout this all, the Eastern Empire seems to be prospering, while the Western Empire seems to be getting very weak. To make matters even worse, the Visigoth leader Alaric attacked Rome this morning. This was a long time coming, because he had cut off food supply for II years and was waiting right outside our gates. Without trade, we suddenly started to turn on our fellow Romans for the next meal. We were turning into cannibals. We couldn't stand it any longer, so we made a big mistake and opened our gates and let Alaric wreak havoc on our once great city. This is the highest time Rome has been conquered in DCCC years. This comes as a great shock for many Romans. In other news of a Germanic group known as the Vandals have just overran Spain and northern Africa and have enslaved many Roman landowners and driven all others away. Now we will go to Karina at the scene of Gladiator.
Welcome back. I'm at the set of Gladiator. This wild and adventurous movie has twists and turns throughout it, and you never know what to expect or what will happen around the corner. Maximus Aurelius Marcadius starts out as a general who is loved by many people, including the emperor. The emperor, Marcus Aurelius, knows he's going to die, but he wants Maximus to succeed him. While Maximus is pondering this idea, Aurelius' son Commodus finds out and strangles his father to death. He orders Maximus to be executed and for his wife and son to be crucified. Maximus escapes his death and tries to save his family, but he's too late. They are already dead, and he is then found and brought into captivity. An ex-gladiator buys Maximus and shows him how to be a gladiator. When Maximus goes off to the Colosseum to fight, Commodus, the new emperor, was not too happy to see him. Commodus quickly tries to kill Maximus without raising any speculation. When his plan doesn't work, he decides to step in and fight Maximus himself. To make sure he wins, Commodus stabs Maximus before the fight and covers up so nobody will know. In the end, both Commodus and Maximus dies, and Maximus is reunited with his family in the afterlife. In our opinion, the movie wasn't actually accurate, but in the end, it turned out to be a great Roman drama. That is why we rate it 3 stars out of 5.